Sandra Zaratni-Kelson is here with us right now to tell us about the group and about this performance. So Sandy, great to have you here. Thanks for coming.
Oh, great. Thank you for having me.
Dances by Isadora, I'm guessing, is based on Isadora Duncan.
You are absolutely correct.
Okay.
So our company, Dances by Isadora, our mission is to preserve the work of Isadora Duncan through performances and teaching and lecture demonstrations. Isadora Duncan is an American artist, American-born. She died in 1927.
A tragic and bizarre death, too, as I recall.
Yeah.
Okay.
She was driving in an open car and her scarf got caught in the wheel.
Yeah.
So since she died in 1927, there are no films of her work. There's one little snippet of her dancing that you can find on YouTube if you search, but it's just a tiny fragment. There are no video films of her work, obviously, dying in 1927.
Yeah.
So her work has been passed down by generation to generation.
Okay.
When Isadora died in 1927, she had a company of 6 women who started dancing with her when they were children. And she, in fact, legally adopted them.
Really?
In those days, she went to Europe. She grew up in San Francisco. She moved to Europe, and that's where she really came into her own as an artist. She met some of the great artists of our time. She met Augusta Rodin. Abraham Wolkowitz painted beautiful watercolors of her. And she started performing there. She started a school there. And in those days, people would send their students to live with the teacher and apprentice with them. So she had these
total immersion.
Total immersion. So she had these 6 students who stayed with her the longest. She actually legally adopted these 6 women, and they became known as the Isadorables.
Oh,
Cute little name.
Yeah.
So after her death in 1927, these 6 women settled in different places of the world and started their own Duncan schools.
Oh, I see.
2 of them, Anna Duncan and Irma Duncan, came to New York City and opened up schools. And so the women that trained with them, I've actually had many of those women have passed away now. I think there's 1 or 2 left that are maybe in their 80s that studied with the original company.
Wow.
So if the original company of those Duncan women is first generation, those next women are the second generation of Duncan dance. I studied briefly with some of them. I had some coaching from them. But my teachers, the founders of Dances by Isadora, Patricia Adams and Catherine Gallant, studied with those women. So they're, let's count now, 3rd generation. I'm 4th generation.
Okay, but you're getting pure Isadora Duncan dance training,
which is really the only way to get it, is through that lineage. There are several companies. We're not the only one. There are several companies around the world. There's actually an international Isadora Duncan symposium that meets every 2 years. And so that's a gathering of Duncan companies all over the world that come to share their knowledge and work together.
And this is based right in Quincy, Dances by Isadora?
We are, so one of our dancers, so our Boston branch of the company, Dances by Isadora, is in New York City and in Boston. Because the 2 founders of the company, Catherine Gallant and Patricia Adams, Catherine Gallant lives in New York City, Patricia Adams is here in Massachusetts. And one of our company members is Kelly Edwards, is director of dance at Milton Academy.
Oh, all right.
So we rehearse at Milton Academy Studios. And we are sort of the Boston, South Shore, Quincy branch of Dances by Isadora.
Sure. How many members?
We have 4 right now in the Boston branch. Pat Adams is our artistic director, founder and artistic director. Kelly Edwards, who is director of dance at Milton Academy, myself, and Irene Lutz, who is a very beautiful, talented dancer in the Boston area, and she's a Quincy native.
Yes, I'm familiar with Irene through Quinn Cycles, actually.
So, yes.
Okay, all right.
So there's 4 of us. There's about 7 or 8 women in the New York company, and we do come together for festivals in the summer and when we can.
Okay. The interesting thing is the group is over 30 years old now, right?
Yes.
Here in the South Shore, and it's a nonprofit, which is interesting.
Yes.
Yeah, how is that operated? I mean, how is that structured? Is there a board and then a staff, or?
Yes, we do have a board. So Catherine Gallant oversees the board of our nonprofit status.
Okay. All right, very good. And can anybody be a member or train under you, or you just perform for the public?
Right now, we offer classes in New York City once a month.
Okay.
I don't have any classes here in the South Shore at this time. I'm planning to.
Oh, all right.
Right now, we've been focusing on performance. We do go to dance departments in area colleges and do Isadora Duncan programs, master classes for college students. Her early dances were very much inspired by Greek art that she saw when she visited Greece as a young
Oh.
woman. She danced bare-armed and bare-legged, barefoot in Grecian-style tunics, which in the early 1900s was scandalous
Sure.
for the time. Now, to see it, it's, you just think, well, she's, it's feminine, it's beautiful, but in that time, it was very shocking
Sure.
to see. So her work was. She was a feminist for her time, definitely
Okay.
ahead of her time. So her early dances celebrated her womanhood, her female being a woman, being a performer, being independent. She had 2 young children who drowned very tragically in automobile accidents
Oh my.
in 1923.
Okay.
And so after the death of her children, she didn't work for a few years. She was
Understandably, sure,
grief-stricken.
distraught, yeah.
When she started to work again, her dances became much more heavier, much more weighted, more related to modern dance that you see today.
Okay.
The Mother, which was choreographed after the death of her children, and it's a very poignant. I think this is an example of her work holding space even today, being relevant even today. You can view this dance as a mother mourning for her children,
Really?
unspeakable tragedy. You can also view this dance as a mother just raising their children and saying
Okay.
goodbye as they grow away. So we feel there are timeless things in this work, timeless pieces of this work that are worth showing, not just as a piece of our dance history, but because they relate today as
Sure,
well.
sure. Is there music to go with the dance?
Yes.
There is, okay. And where does that come from?
Oh, so very interesting about
Yeah.
Isadora's dances. She was really one of the first dancers to separate from the ballet tradition. And she was one of the first to choreograph to music not traditionally danced to, the music of Chopin, Brahms, Scriabin.
Classical music.
Classical music. It was not considered dance
Right.
music. So just that was avant-garde
Okay.
for the time.
She was
period.
cutting edge.
She was cutting edge. She was a feminist for
Yeah.
her time. Absolutely.
Wow, and obviously the dance is a way of communication, right? It's a form of expression in movement. What are you going to perform for us here today, Sandy?
Today I'm going to do one of her early dances called the Water Study. Isadora Duncan was born in San Francisco and was very much influenced. A lot of her writing, she talks about the influence of the waves and the ocean.
Okay.
So I'll be showing that dance today.
Perfect for a seaside community like Quincy.
Oh, absolutely.
nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, Joe. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure. Great to talk to you, and appreciate
Absolutely.
the opportunity to learn about Peter Bizzell and the Academy.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about how this all came to be.
Well, it's a long, sordid story.
We need
You asked.
the Reader's Digest
The
version.
Reader's Digest version. Let's see. I was playing music actually in the Northwest when I was a little bit younger, playing drums in a group up in Seattle, Washington area.
Is that where you're
Portland.
from originally?
I was actually born in Lowell,
Okay.
so that's where the story
Northwest
gets.
Massachusetts.
That's where the story gets really long. But to condense that, I moved
Yeah.
out to the Northwest when I was, like a sophomore in high school. So I spent close to 17 years out there, and
Wow.
I'm aging myself. But that said,
You were
Yeah.
10 at the time. So.
yes, exactly. I was 10. And so when I was 10, but I played music in groups out there quite a bit, playing drums, but was always writing songs and playing guitar. So I moved back to New England in around 2000 to be with my family, and got married, had kids, was still passionate about the music, so I was still writing, and I decided to form some music and release some music around me, Peter Bizzell, because I
Okay.
had no other vision at that time than just putting my name on it.
Did you go to school for music? Or
I did. I went
Yeah.
to school at the Evergreen State College in Olympia, Washington.
Okay.
Great school, very creative environment. We had recording studios on campus. We we could study anything we wanted, basically. So I just created a curriculum for myself, very unique. Yeah, similar like Hampshire College in Western Mass,
Okay.
where you created your own curriculum. It was a state school, and so I was there for several years, and I just created my own universe, and that's what they support there. And my universe was, I'm going to make music every day. I'm going to record music every day. They had some beautiful recording facilities on campus, so I really learned how to record music, record other music, write experimental music. Got more into, the writing side of music. Whereas a drummer, that was my first instrument. You're not necessarily writing music. You're the drummer, and you're there to keep the beat.
Right.
And I enjoyed that, and I still enjoy it. But sort of moved on from that, in my musical life, and started writing more, and wanted to express myself more that way. So I picked up the guitar more and started working on that as a drummer. And I'm left-handed too, so I had this thing where I had to find a left-handed guitar, and
Oh, interesting.
and started, So that's a sort of me in a nutshell as far as my musical sort of trajectory.
Yeah.
And
And
go ahead,
where did
of
the
course.
band come into play? How did you form the group?
So the band, my first records, I've done 4 records over the years since like 2000. This record, To Telescope, basically recorded it all myself with my brother-in-law, who
Really?
now lives in Los Angeles. We did all the recording. So on that record, I played the drums, played all the guitars mostly. Chris played a little bit. Chris Zerbe is my brother-in-law. He was in a group in Boston. Pretty popular group called Helicopter. They were very sort of a power pop sound, almost like Pixies or something.
Okay.
Yeah, so he helped me write the music, and we actually recorded that in Los Angeles because he moved out there about 15 years ago. So from there, I did another record. I brought them all with me. I feel like
Yeah.
I'm doing a commercial, but here, this one here, Museum of, again with Chris, but started bringing in some players that maybe would stick with me a little bit more. And then by the third record, I did a CD, actually EP, excuse me, and I got more of sort of the band, which I'm now calling the Academy, sort of with me. And so we just recorded our 4th record last winter, and that's Peter Bizzell and the Academy. And they've been with me for a while. We've kind of moved a little bit with bass players. I don't know if you know about being in bands very much, but some members, will leave and go do other things.
Right.
For me, it's been bass player
Okay.
rotation.
All right.
I've had about 10 bass players since
Really?
I started doing
Wow.
this.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what kind of music do you guys make? I mean, how would you kind of categorize it?
I would say it is like, power pop sounds. Maybe we kind of move into a little bit more of an experimentally sound, in the sense that we try to take a little bit out of that mold, where power pop is sort of a definition of rock music that kind of came out in the 70s.
Yeah.
Like Big Star was like sort of beginning of that, and kind of went through to, I don't know, who else would be power pop? Maybe Elvis Costello or something, right?
Okay.
So, and then into the 90s, it was Matthew Sweet. For me, in my age, I kind of got stuck in the 90s, and I haven't really moved from that. So I get compared to an artist like Matthew Sweet a lot, you know, who's a big artist in the 90s. He's still out making music now.
Okay. Well, curious about the art actually on the album cover here, and "The Devil Love" is the name of it, right? Your latest release.
Yeah.
Is this something you designed yourself, or?
It is. I worked with an artist named Aaron Bela. He's an artist out of Boston.
Okay.
And he's designed some nice CD covers. We came up with this concept of just having this woman give her child to the devil. I don't know. It sort of seemed to ring true in our world today, in my world, on a personal level at times, you know, where you're not necessarily taken care of the way you could be. And the songs were, you know, reflected that too. So sometimes the songs that I write kind of move together, and so there's 11 songs on that. I guess in some respects it's kind of a theme, you know, among the music. So that title kind of rose to it, and then the title had the title first, and this vision of the devil, of course, and the contradictory of devil and love, kind of the yin and yang of that, and we came up with this idea.
Okay. And the name The Academy. What are the roots of that?
The Academy was like, well, we need a name for the group. In my mind, I was like, getting a little tired of being Peter Bazell, the solo artist.
Yeah.
You know, it just always didn't really feel right. So I was like, well, let's name the group. So we kind of rolled around some names. You know, The Gentleman. I don't know. We had a few other good ones, but the Academy kind of stuck. And that one actually came just randomly. Again, some of these things is random, but my oldest daughter was going to school. She was moving into the Boston Latin Academy.
Oh, okay.
Academy, I'll write that down on the list. Hey guys, what do you think about names for the band? This, you know, gave them 10 options.
Sure.
Hey, we like the Academy. All right, it makes us sound something,
Okay.
I don't know, intelligent maybe. And the idea for that would be that actually what I like to do is just drop Peter Bazell, and so the next record, hey, if there's a next record, we just call ourselves Academy.
The Academy.
The Academy, right? So
All right. Very good.
Send me on my way, but I won't go. The road is gone, dust won't fall. Lead me to the fields where we fall down, and the red sun covers our skin. sun covers our skin, and the red, red sun covers our skin. Just begun to get started. No one gives it to you. You have to take Sacred Heart, most precious blood, dumb and filled with doubt. Don't know what we're here for. We give then receive, flower from the seed. Don't know what we are without. Heaven holds the faithful departed. We've just begun to get started. No one gives it to you. You have to take Sacred Heart, most precious blood. We don't know what we're here for. Got what we got, but we want more. shadow. You'll come upon and you'll go black. Some kind of night into your darkness. Colors your eyes with what's not there. Fade into you. Strange, you never knew. Fade into you. I think it's strange, you never knew. Your strange light comes on slowly. A stranger's heart without a home. You put your hands into your hair. Smiles cover your heart. Fade into you. Strange, you never knew. Fade into you. I think it's strange.